everyone. We're approaching holidays. It's getting to be later in November. It's the 23rd of November. I have not done an NFL algorithm review in a long time, but why not? I mean, people are interested. You're interested, maybe. So I used to sell subscriptions to this NFL algorithm because I've been doing it for years and it can be helpful. Then I didn't want to get involved with this anymore. That I was like, well, I still built this thing. People care. And it had a really good week last week. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it out to everyone. I'm actually going to put the Excel file out for everyone to download. And if it works out for you, it's helpful for you. If you want me to keep doing these and you appreciate what I've done, I would really appreciate just send me some money, like 20 bucks, 25 bucks, whatever. If you have a good week or something with it, um, I would greatly appreciate it. So that's all I have to say about that. And we're just going to put it out there. So let's talk about what happened last week. Went 12-2 on the win score percentage here. Profitable day all around. Point projections were pretty good. I added this thing called a projected margin of victory, which has to do with these projected scores. So you can have some fun and sort by this projected margin of victory to see how did those games do. And those games, we hit the top six all the way up to this Carolina, and then you would have lost this game on Thursday night. But there was, and your projected scores didn't work out at the bottom where there was conflict. So kind of told you to stay away from these games. But anyway, so really interesting stuff. So let's take a look at week 12. And we already won the first game because we had Houston over Indianapolis. And the other cool thing about this week is that we had that game. Hide this stuff. We can hide all this. Actually, just hide this and this. And what we're going to look at is what's available in a couple different views and a couple different orders and talk about the games and what's going on here. So New Orleans can be a power team. New Orleans, they really can. Carolina comes off a really rough game against Atlanta. You don't know what's going on with them, but we're looking at this by projected margin of victory. We can also look at it by the original way, which is win score percentage descending. In the natural order, this is more related to like team statistics throughout the year. And the projected score takes into account players that are playing in the game and how they would sum up to a score. You can go into this point projection sheet and start to look at games and see, schedules of games, right? And you can say, well, we know, for example, that what's going on this week, what's interesting here. Miami at Cleveland. You think Cleveland would probably be pretty good there, right? So we go back to the picks or the projected score and we say, where is that why is that going to happen in Cleveland versus Miami? You can take this thing, you can mess around with it and show, you can look at fantasy point salary if you're doing fantasy stuff or not. And you can start to see by position where these teams stacked up. A lot of times what I used to do is to take the team here and then put the position up here. And you see how they line up position-wise. Like the QB rating for Miami is actually greater. Apparently they have a little, Rosen or Fitzpatrick can put up points. Here it's only Baker Mayfield who's equivalent to Fitzpatrick, essentially. You can, what's going on in the running back situation. Nick Chubb is really strong. If you look at this by just player, he's the strongest point projected player of all. Then you've got the kickers. It's Jason Sanders, kicker. Devontae Parker is the first time you have a Dolphin that's up there on that list. So there's a lot of different ways to look at things. So if we go back to overall and talk about the games and see this here, how do you want to approach this? Well, let's just go game by game and then talk about the strength of it. So it really likes the Steelers over the Bengals because the Bengals are just terrible, right? They are terrible this year. And although the point projections only has a 2-point victory, still looks like the Steelers are going to win. The money line is showing a spread line there. That's wrong. I don't have the money lines right. I don't know what happened there. I think I got to repaste. I will fix that. So we won't talk about the money lines, but we'll just talk about the spreads. So we can kind of estimate what the money lines are going to be. That's probably going to be like minus 350 or something for the Steelers, or 300 or something like that. The Browns are super heavily favored over the Dolphins. It thinks they're going to cover the spread based on our projected scores. Here's an interesting one. And it's funny that our point projections are right along the spread. We don't even need to look at this. This is wrong. We're right along that here. We have all favorites except for Seattle. Let's go back to this Lions game. I really like the money line in this game. I don't know if it says the Lions don't cover. The Redskins score more than you think, but it says the Lions win the game. I like the Lions winning that game also. So the money line there. Patriots and Cowboys, it thinks, well, look at these spreads. Does not think they're going to cover apparently, but does think they're going to win pretty handily. So keep that in mind. And the money line's not going to be good there because they're favored by 6. That's a tough game to play. Oakland and the Jets. Wow, here's one where it thinks Oakland more than covers. Jets are a weird team. Spotty, but Oakland I think is stronger than you think. So that's a good one for the money line or apparently the spread, right? Bears and Giants. Right on the money when it comes to what Vegas thinks. You got to wonder if they use this file. The Saints and the Panthers. I don't know what to do there. Here, do you take the Bears on the money line? Oh, the Bears suck, though. I don't like the Bears. Trubisky, I don't know what their quarterback situation is. We can look real quick. Chase Daniel. I don't know how many games he's played. But, all right. Baltimore. Oh, actually, no. Saints and Panthers. We were talking about that because it has the greatest projected margin of victory here. You see that? When you think about it. And that's, unfortunately, Vegas is right along with us in terms of what they think. But this one, if one of those teams is going to cover, it's probably going to be the Saints at home where they can put up a lot of points. I think Breeze is playing. So it thinks they're going to cover there. Maybe an over in that game too, but I don't know what it's set at. Baltimore and the Rams. Baltimore, a team that, Lamar Jackson is the darling of the league right now. Thinks they're going to cover, even in LA. Thinks they're going to win by 8. So keep that in mind. Not a bad money line bet for the Ravens, sure. Seahawks, this is the only underdog we have against the Eagles. I liked this game when I was reviewing it. Thinks they're going to win by 2. So you can either take them with a point or just take them to win. I think they can win this game. They're beating the Niners, right? Niners and the Packers. Wow. Doesn't think they're going to cover barely. Does think they're going to win. It's the 5th weakest. So they're not but they're coming off a loss. They're at home at least. That's helpful, right? They're probably going to win that. Buffalo and Denver. Thinks they're going to cover the Bills. This game's in Buffalo. Sort of low scoring. I don't know what the weather's like. It's probably cold. Tennessee and Jacksonville. Yeah, Jacksonville's falling off a wagon. Gardner Minshew fever came and went like the common cold. And I guess Tennessee says they cover there barely. Super close. We're really agreeing a lot with Vegas automatically here. Houston and Indianapolis already happened, and the scores just changed, but we actually had this as like 25-24, I think, originally when I did it before Thursday night. Atlanta, and we can get rid of the Thursday game. And the very bottom, it thinks Atlanta beats Tampa Bay in a really high-scoring affair there. It thinks there's going to be a ton of points, probably because there's no defense. So that's the look at Week 12. We got a little under 10 minutes. Just putting it out there for everyone, so enjoy, because selling it didn't work out. It didn't work out. I'm just going to rely on the generosity of others and see if that actually pans out. Good luck to everybody.